everybody. You've kind of joined us here on New Revenue Streams. We've got three of the great companies from the cohort, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that they did to kind of combat the pandemic, but also things that have now kind of etched in stone or a new way forward or a foundation or even an additional income. So I'm going to start off. Do you want to go ladies first, Lalu, or I'll ask you some questions. We'll go around the room. Actually, I'll start off with Anthony. Anthony's unmuted, so we'll go in there. So Anthony, tell us just about a minute about Big Cat, but then let's talk about behavioral marketing and kind of the twist that you took to say we got to be different. The restaurants have been crushed, so we have to do something to make things happen. Over to you, Anthony. Tell us about Big Cat.
So I'm the chief executive owner manager of Big Cat. We started it 20 years ago. About 3 years ago, we started looking at how do we make our marketing and advertising campaigns more effective, which is all about how do we get better results for our clients. So a couple of years ago, we got introduced to the concept of behavioral marketing or behavior science and how that can be applied to advertising campaigns. So we started, but busy with clients. We didn't really put the we didn't really have the time to put behind learning, because it's talk is cheap. So to say that we do apply behavior science when actually we didn't really, what the impact of the lockdown did was 80% of our revenue stopped pretty much overnight. So we worked in retail, we worked with clients in hospitality, in leisure, in large scale events. So all of those things were closed down. So essentially, we were on our knees from a revenue point of view. But, looking back now, in hindsight, it allowed us to focus on learning and development and training. So we were really able to focus on relearning a new craft. And so that's what we spent the last year really honing our craft of applied behavior science.
So you actually had to switch. You had to switch client segments because gyms, restaurants, and all that normal fare was dead, and a new way to approach a new group of clients. So we'll come back to how you implemented it, but let's go, Lalu. Let's talk a little bit about what you guys have done and how you've switched kind of online and some of this stuff you've done now with the education and the coding. So over to you, Lalu. A little bit about Neo, and then kind of about how you guys pivoted as you were going.
Hi everyone, I'm Laulu. I'm co-founder of Neo Enterprise. Specifically, we're made up of two core brands, which is a hair and beauty brand and the Neo Network. And we use the Neo Network to upskill and train Black women with tech skills to be able to get into like high earning roles and better career prospects for themselves. For us, I think that it was a very timely situation that we were in, because we've always been looking for a way to upskill and train Black women, and we had to make the pivot from teaching and training physically in classrooms to actually going virtual online, which actually enabled us to service more people. So we originally started with a plan to have a cohort of 40, and we took it up by 10. We had the program initially was oversubscribed to, which meant that within a year we've scaled from 1 boot camp to 6, and it's growing very fast because of this.
That's really good. And then we'll talk a little bit about what you've added on now with Tehran and with some of the other routes forward for not just coding, but some of the other parts you're doing. Thank you, Lalu. We'll come back. I'll have some questions for you in a minute. Now, Carl, over to Blue Chili. Could you give us a little bit about Blue Chili? Talk about what you were doing pre-COVID, and then let's talk a little bit about the brains and the training stuff that you guys worked on. So over to you, Carl.
Yeah, hi guys. My name's Carl from Blue Chili. We're a creative agency in Aston. We're now 12 years old. About 3 years ago, we had a big sort of foot in the sporting world with match day programs, and we had a really high turnover but the profit margin was quite low, and we had to make a decision to actually, okay, do we push all this work away and go in a different direction? So we did that 3 years ago and pushed half that work away. And then when COVID came, it sort of all got pulled away from us anyway and got took in-house, which was a good thing that we did. So 3 years ago, we made the choice to go into animation, websites, which we were doing little bits of, but we just retrained the staff and pushed further into that sort of side of the business. From that, then we started building training platforms for banks and then into the hospitality industry. So Brain sort of approached us when COVID hit to actually say, okay, we need to train our staff in the perfect serve. They couldn't get staff into the venue to do this, so how could we do it? We created an online platform for them to actually serve every drink. That could be 150 drinks that they'd access online, and they did that through that training. From there, Brains then installed this system into every venue that staff can then sit beyond the bar. If they need instruction into how to serve that drink, they can click on platforms. It then instructs them how to do that, which in essence gets a better sort of experience in that venue.
So my question back to you guys. Okay, so let's reset the clock. COVID didn't happen, and business was just going to tick along. You're going to do well. Everybody wants to sell more. Another 10% on the board. You know, however it was looking. Did COVID make you, or the pandemic and all the stuff that we've just gone through, did it make you relook at the numbers and what you were going to proceed on while you were doing this reset? And so I'll put it over to Anthony first. So we'll go back in that order. So, and would you have done this? Would you have done it the same way or with the same pace if it wasn't for not the program, but literally what's happened over the last year? Anthony.
Yeah, absolutely not. So we probably before COVID, we would have anything from 20 client projects a month. Probably half of them were low value, pain in the neck, low profit margin, but legacy clients. And we've always, for the last 3 or 4 years, we've been trying to increase the spend per head, profitability per client, and having less clients for more money. We also, we're creative agencies, marketing agencies. We're a bit like solicitors in that we sell expertise by the hour. We sell time, essentially. And what I was looking to do was decouple the time we spent to the amount we charge. You know, rather than being stuck to an hourly rate, how do we decouple that and then try to focus on the value we created? So by introducing applied behavior science to our campaigns, creative strategies, etc., that we were trying to then, how can we add 10x of value, you know, a multiple of value, so that we could move that away? So absolutely not. We've been trying to do that for 3 years and 4 years and not achieve that. So what COVID has allowed us to do, because 80% of our clients vanished overnight, was we had to, I mean, it was horrible, try to find new markets. A new product into a new market is like the perfect, excuse my French, shitstorm. So, you know, it was a double hard thing to do. So we've, the last 6 to 9 months, been trying to find the markets with the money, with the chops to understand what we're trying to sell. So that's the kind of journey we've been on. But COVID.
So have you now elevated your focused client? So have you now elevated what they would spend, the size of them, how you integrate and how you can add value? Is that a yes or no?
Absolutely. So now we're speaking to directors of marketing at FMCG brands that would never, you know, there's 12 of us. They would never speak to a 12-person creative agency. They speak to Havas, you know, like global network agencies that have 100 people doing what we do. So now, because we've got this superpower, we're now being invited to the table, and with a different brief around really understanding consumers. We're being pigeonholed as like an insights agency rather than a marketing services agency where there are much bigger.
Anthony, I'm going to stop you there just because I think you get your nugget of wisdom right there. I mean, whoever, whether it's the consultants that are on with us and the mentors and everybody else, or it's some of the other businesses that are on here, this is the time to find your superpower. That's what Anthony said. Find your superpower, because that superpower, whether it's Superman, being super strong and being able to save people, or if it's Batman being at the right place, right time, fast, whatever it is, find your superpower, because your end client, your better client, is going to want to figure out, or they're going to want to buy that from you. They're going to work with you to make that happen. So that's what Anthony did in that mindset changes. Everything's coming in the door, work, busy work. Did that, but it was excellent. And I loved the shift. And we'll talk with Anthony's got some stuff on behavioral marketing that we can get out to everybody, because it's actually pretty cool. So Anthony, I'm going to move over to Laulu now. So Laulu, so would you have done the stuff that you're doing now? I know you have Oyen and you have this trajectory at rocket speed at all times in every direction you go, but would you have been in the same place you are now if it wasn't for COVID saying reset button, stop, and go forward again?
Definitely not. Similar to Anthony, I think that we had to really have a look at who our customers were. And for a long time, we were trying to charge the student. And we actually realized that if we are able to help employers fill a skills gap, then actually the employers and larger organizations who are trying to make sure that people have these skills are better placed as our customers. So for us, it was COVID made us pivot and look the other direction and really think about, okay, how do we add value to you? And it was easy for us to link, Black female talent in tech. That's a low percentage already. So let's get more diversity into the industry and also fill the skills gap equally.
That's awesome. And great feedback and great stuff that's there. Carl, so you had already made the smart decision to move away from match day programs. So luckily you didn't have match day programs as 50% of your turnover this year, because that would have been stuffed. So pandemic, you'd already moved that thing aside. Now the training and the other things that you're doing in the background, what direction do you see that taking over as part of your business in overall turnover terms?
Yeah, the idea was already there, but COVID just sped up the process. We're probably where we are now would have been in 5 years' time. So it just enabled us to then start talking to the clients that we wanted to deal with. Really, over the past 5 years, we wanted to deal with ABC clients. Now we could do, pushing our early rate up to double what we was charging before. And as soon as we're actually dealing with those sort of standard level of clients, other clients want to get involved with you because you're doing work for them. So like I say, the plan was always there. It's just been sped up 5 years.
Cool. I can keep talking. The guys can keep talking. But questions from the floor. Is there anybody that has any questions that they want to have for any of them or all of the participants that they want to apply to anything? I'll leave it. Go, Michael.
Yeah, just a quick one because I'm gonna have to shoot out for a meeting soon. But and hey, Carl, it's good to see you again.
Mate, you okay?
Yeah, good. We'll catch up. Just a quick one. Laulu, is that right? Did I say it right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is the right place, but here at Sony, we're definitely looking at ways to kind of intake minorities, like I'm here in the tech sector, and specifically where I work, it's technology and data. So it would be interesting to speak to you and to put you maybe in touch. I've already been speaking to a woman who runs Black in Data, which is a company or an organization focused around black getting minorities into the data space. But yeah, it'd be great to speak to you and see if we could
I'll hook it up, Michael. I'll get it sorted. Yep. I'll put it all together for you, Lalu and Michael. I'll get that sorted. Good. Thank you very much. Questions or comments from the peanut gallery? Simon's always one for a good question, or Matt Murphy's coming in. So Matt, over to you first. Did you unmute for a second, Matt Murphy?
Sorry, yeah. It's a question for Anthony. When you pivoted to incorporate behavioral science, did you attract a new customer, or were you able to like upsell to your existing client base?
So all of our existing customers vanished. so it wasn't necessarily about that, but when new customers came in, there was two options, and it was either applying behavior science to our service mix, or it was we developed a workshop and a process where we train people. So we're currently trying both. So we're finding that if clients have got a small marketing team, we sell them it as part of our service package. But if they're a really big company with a big marketing team, we can train them on how to apply behavioral insights to their campaigns. So we're still quite early days, and we're speaking to getting to know the challenges of, say, FMCG brands, and understanding the challenges of small e-commerce outfits that are selling direct to consumers. So without COVID, we wouldn't have been able to develop ourselves to do this, but everyone gets it as a matter of course now. We can't help but apply behavioral insights to everything we do. So we're eating our own dog food in terms of how we apply it, but we're also offering it as a training course to bigger companies that have the internal resources to apply and then test and learn. So, obviously we want to get more work off the back of developing them to, selling more to these bigger organizations.
Cool. So it was a new market, new market.
Do you see where my question was coming from, though? That changing the perception with your existing clients to a new type of service is different to going after a whole new bunch of clients, isn't it? It's a different challenge.
Existing clients, we've had to weave it in, so we're not trying to teach them about science.
Right.
Whereas other clients have kind of come to us. I mean, we've done a lot of selling because they understand the value and they've got an interest.
They get it.
Or a bit of
you haven't got any preconceptions to change, have you?
That's right. That's right. But someone who's got no interest in behavior science, forgets about it. It's so yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one. I saw. Thank you, Matt. That was a great question. Simon, did you have a question?
Well, it's more of a kind of an initial observation, really. Everything that you guys have said about kind of reinventing your business is something that's been huge for me. When you're forced to stop, as we were, back in March last year, it was a shock. But I was like you guys. I was just kind of running along, trying to keep up and trying to build on what was there, and it wasn't really happening. And then having to stop, it's made me actually more than just reevaluate my business, it's evaluate my life. And I'm thinking, and over that last summer, it was like, what do I really want to do with my life? What is it? I've got a few years left of my so-called career, and it's been fantastic for me. And the whole cohort thing just came at the right time. So, Bar, I can't thank you guys enough for doing all this. Anyway, that was me.
That's cool. Thank you, Simon. Yeah, well, I'll pay you later. I'll send you Bax transfers on its way, buddy.
Thank you.
No problem at all. So any other, I have a couple more questions, but you guys rather hear you guys than me. So Malcolm, do you have anything, or Alan, any comments or questions that you have for the group?
Do you mind if I ask another one?
Oh, geez, Matt. Okay, go ahead. Keep it talking.
Because have any of you guys managed to grow new revenue streams while growing your existing revenue streams? Because this is a challenge for us. So you've pivoted because of a crisis or predicting a certain scenario. Have any of you managed to layer it on top and continue to grow your core business? Because for us, that's a challenge of how do you grow a new revenue whilst keeping your existing cash cow growing?
Well, we have, Matt, well, obviously with the football programs, that going, but we already had existing clients there where we was doing websites and animation for. It's just that we've been able to not be so suffocated by that one client to allow us to then approach other clients while also upselling to the existing clients.
And did you separate them out, Carl? Did you treat them in separate, almost like business plans, or what?
I suppose to an extent, yes, because we'd already got to turn the door with the existing clients, so we knew what they wanted and where they wanted to go and what their business was. I suppose it's a different approach when you're going for a new client, and like I say, when you start working with these established brands, that word gets about, and that helps as well. So you start building that client base.
Yeah. And Laula, did your existing business carry on going? Did it there? You said you got did you say fashion, or what was the other side of your Neo enterprise?
It was mobile hair and beauty services.
So has that continued to grow alongside the tech training?
Yes, it has actually. So because we weren't able to service clients, we were able to innovate and provide like lessons on hair care, online events for hairdressers, training sessions, especially for hairstylists who didn't just provide hair services, but also had digital products. So maybe running a website with hair products or things like that. We were able to run a crash course, a few crash courses, and teach them business skills that we were teaching on the other side of the company. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
so you've definitely
that's kind of the trick. But I
yeah.
think during this whole transition and all this stuff, that real key point is, then I call it the kind of the pain in the backside measure, is profitability and how hard is it to service. And I mean, I've talked about this with Anthony and Carl and Laula, is just and Alan too, and it's just. So is this just because it's a revenue stream doesn't mean it's a great revenue stream. Do we like it? Do we want to continue down that road, or do we move ourselves out? And Alan's looking at the same thing. It's like, I like doing this, but this one's more profitable and more fun. So how do I do more of that and less of this, but still having that one tick along? So that's the balancing act. But you guys, because of furlough, because of people laying people off and all the stuff that's happened over this time frame, you really got back to the bare bones of employees, and not in a mean way, and we're able to work back from there and have been able to scale back up, haven't you, Anthony? And how you're rebuilding and refoundationing your business?
Last month we took a couple of people back from redundancy that we had to make in the autumn. And yeah, I mean, our growth plan has been paused and scaled back for a year, but I think now the new market is a lot bigger than it was before. Before it was just kind of Midlands businesses, whereas now it's kind of like that we've got a sniff at some really big brands that have got, backed by enormous companies with other brands in them. So it's really I love learning. So learning about new brands, new sectors, new challenges, new trends. I love that kind of thing. So we're kind of carrying on with our services style marketing agency, but selling this workshop and process and training essentially is a great way into these much bigger organizations.
I think I second that, Bob, from what Anthony said.
Go ahead, Carl.
That we reevaluate the investment into staff as well, and training them up. As soon as we got to a certain level, people then asking, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" And that reinvestment into the training of your own staff, it's been great for us because it's just pushed our skill level onwards and upwards.
That's really good. And so going back to what Anthony said in the very beginning, when we talked about the superpower, is that most of the side characters, so if we consider Amazon as Superman, because they can pretty much do everything in the whole world, from training to shopping to shipping to graphics to AWS, it's really hard to be that. But if you can be the Flash, if you can be that one thing that you specialize in, maybe one or two superpowers, then it really takes you forward, and you can concentrate, and you can save the right people, you can work with the right clients. And that's what all these guys have been able to do, is, like Laulu said, switching from really just making money just off the students paying for something to, hey, you know what, who wants the students? Who wants well-trained people? Focusing, it's like Simon's doing right now on his financial raise for the movie. It's, you got to find the cash. You got to find who has the cash, who wants to give it to you for the great things that you do, instead of you having to beg them for it. How can you make them give it to you? Simon's selling. Simon, do you have a mug? Could you show me a mug?
No, I have. I've got.
Oh, what? How do you not have a mug?
Wait.
Oh, sorry. He's gonna run and grab a mug. So I give him
the pressure.
There he is. He's back. He's back, Simon.
No, look. The thing is, right? You've all got businesses that have huge profit potential. Having had a successful movie that's out now, I'm seeing the kind of downside of what movies make, and it's it's shite. And the problem is the system is corrupt. And so all the money that I'm making back, I'm paying my investors back. God bless them, because I want to. But there's no return. And it's like everybody's screwing you. So I'm thinking, how can I get the money, first of all, to make the film that I want to make, and then sell it directly back to that audience, as well as everybody else. But cutting out the sales agents.
David wants to talk to you. Hold on, David's
hello.
going to jump in. Simon's got full of energy, and so he'll be like Anthony. He'll be for a day.
Brilliant.
So, David, do you have a question?
Well, sort of. Question, statement. I'm Dave from the Intellectual Property Office. So it's fantastic to be surrounded. I haven't been involved in this particular program, but I've done it in Bristol, and I've also done it in Manchester. So well done, guys, and it's great to hear all these good news stories. You were absolutely full of IP. So there were a number of questions, but just to pick up on that last point, I've been up to the brand licensing show on a number of occasions, and the last time I was there, they were, I mean, this is perhaps a different element, but they were launching the Thunderbirds film. So what they did there was they sold and licensed all the IP for Thunderbirds, for the T-shirts, the hats, and everything else. And they had upfront fees, and that upfront fees paid for the movie. And when the movie came out, all the IP was in place. Everyone had their T-shirts, their hats, and all that sort of thing. So I'm just saying this.
No.
I think cool. So Simon Cox and Simon K. If you guys you've already talked. Have you already spoken, Simon K and Simon Cox?
I don't think we have actually.
Okay. No, we haven't. I mean, just very briefly, but my background is in licensing IP. So I work with game studios, various, whether that's inbound and outbound. So I've outbound licensed IP rights to be merchandised. Increasingly over recent times, it's been more inbound licensing because of how the world has gone. So whether that's for the whole game, whether that's casino games or console games, but increasingly micro content. So if you want to populate your game with, I don't know, badges from NASA space missions, all the way through to the Jeep from Jurassic Park.
Simon, could I get you and Simon, David? I'll link you guys up on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a good name, so why not?
Yeah, well, what, Cox?
Who?
Yeah, it's a great family name.
Simon.
Simon, yeah, sorry, Cox.
Hello.
Hello, Simon. Good to see you. All right, yeah, let's have a chat. Definitely. Thank you.
Cool. So, any other questions or comments from the room? It's fun having you here, so I don't want to take away from anybody. No. I think any kind of a closing statement to anybody that's switching from Anthony and Carl and Laulu, kind of your closing statement on. If somebody's thinking about switching something, what would you say right now besides just do it? What 2 steps or 3 steps of a process should they go through before they make the big step, or in that process? So whichever one of you comes up with it first, a little bit of a process to evaluate why or how or what they're doing.
I think the reason what we looked into first part was the market. Is the market there within current clients, and did we have the potential to grow this with future clients? But also we made sure that we got the finance in place. We took a loan out from the bank to make sure that if we was going to take this risk, we got a bit of a backer there, and there's a financial there to cover it for pushing all this work away. So it'd also make sure you got that in place, and then really the staff, make sure they're trained, make sure they're up to speed, and they can fulfill what you're actually trying to sell and push forward with.
Cool. So clients, finance, and people. So staff. That's a great tick list for everybody. Laulu, how about you? I know Carl probably just stole everything that you wrote down, but
he did. He really did. But I was going to say, especially on the staff point, making sure that you're carrying them along, because I think it's very easy when you're high level to just be go. This needs to be done. This needs to be done. But also selling that vision to the staff so that when they are talking to clients and customers, they're also carrying that vision with them as well.
Pearl, so bring everybody along. So you've got all the stuff that Carl said, and then Laulu says, make sure you're bringing them along, not just telling them to do stuff. Anthony, we only have 1 minute. I don't want it to be cut off. Thanks to everybody. I'm going to leave it with Anthony because it's going to get cut off on him. But thank you for coming thank you for coming here to talk about growing profits. And thank you to Laulu, Carl, and Anthony for speaking to us and your questions. Over to you, Anthony.